I saw this statement and it was so good to me, and I had to write it down. It says, the goal in grief is to do this: remember with more love than with pain. Hello, welcome back to another great episode of Love Speaks. This is your host, Francois, along with my lovely wife,
Lakeisha. It's so great to have you with us today.
and this is the final episode of the season. This has been a great season.
Yes, it is.
I hope you guys have enjoyed this season so far. So we want you to kind of send us your emails, send us your notes, comment under all of our posts, especially this one, and let us know what you want to see in the next season. But this ride has been pretty good, right?
Yes, it has. It's been great. We have some phenomenal guests on sharing their passion and their love and their commitment to the work that they're doing in the community. Oh, if you have not seen those episodes, I ask of you to go back, look over the beginning of those episodes where we had great entrepreneurs shared their business, their passion for their business. And so, hey, we still want you to support them. And we're looking forward to, as we are closing out this season, looking forward to our next season, which will be coming up very soon. But we want you in this off season to share with us any ideas. If you want to be a guest in our new upcoming season, we look forward to having you.
Absolutely. We want you. So let us know. We'll have you on. So again, this is Love Speaks, where love speaks what love is, whether it is spiritually, whether it is culturally, or whether it is currently. Love Speaks. And as you can tell by my festive attire, it's holiday season. It's holiday season. Over the last couple of years, I started with my happy holidays because from my very Pentecostal background, they will say, Miss Merry Christmas, not all these happy holidays. Don't take Christ out of Christmas. However, when we consider the amount of holidays that starts in November all the way till past January, February, um, in my profession, I got tired of remembering which holiday we was greeting. So I just started with Happy Holiday. So from Veterans Day, Happy Holiday. Thanksgiving, Happy Holiday. Christmas, Happy Holiday. New Year's, Happy Holiday. Hanukkah, Happy Holiday. Kwanzaa, Happy Holiday. Just happy holidays to everyone. So it's holiday season. Do you have a personal preference of how you greet during the holiday?
Well, first, I want to go back and say it's a happy holiday for me as well because my birthday is in November.
Absolutely.
Some years rather, I celebrate my birthday on Thanksgiving. So that's always been special and unique for me. So that's an added holiday for me. But I do have certain ways I think I like to celebrate during the holiday season, especially around Thanksgiving, because that's a time that we give thanks. We reflect on what has transpired throughout the year thus far, leading up to Thanksgiving with that thought of gratitude and appreciation. And so I like to celebrate with family, with the loved ones, with friends. Also inviting strangers sometimes because when we have our gatherings, it's pretty much whoever want to come to the party, we open our doors and we'll feed anyone who comes through the doors and come to celebrate with us. So we've had other outside guests who comes and sit and partake and fellowship with us during that time, that great season. It's always a delight when we celebrate during the holiday season, especially again in the month of November. Although we're gathering around food, I think that's the most traditional part of Thanksgiving for many people. We get to sit around the table and we get to eat. Rather you do a traditional and a formal setting, because some people bring out the china, set the tableware, and have a great feast that way. And some of us grab plastic plates, sit in the room or wherever you choose to feast at and have your Thanksgiving. But it's still a part of the tradition. Me personally, I love family, I love time, but I also take it as a time off because you're not working during that time. So I like to take and have a place for myself where I can just kind of relax.
And like you, I mean, I also have um, traditions. I think everybody has their own particular, it's not the holidays until blah, blah, blah. And so for me, it's always surrounded mostly about food and fellowship. Growing up, we weren't always as fortunate. So, one of the main parts of our holiday season basically dealt with the dinner, being able to go to grandma's house or just even cook our own Christmas and Thanksgiving at the house and enjoy the food. All of the family in the kitchen, all of us working together. One is doing the preparation, one is doing this and that, and just to help bring it all together. Who's going to make the dessert? Which dessert are you going to make? Things of this. So that's a part of the tradition that we have had throughout the years. I have never, now I know that's not your testimony. Uh, I've never overly indulged in shopping. How do you feel about Christmas shopping or holiday shopping? Because Thanksgiving is coming, and then that black, I must honestly say, in all my years of living, I have never been to a Black Friday sale.
I haven't gone to a Black Friday sale either, not that I have not taken advantage of maybe Cyber Mondays, but as I've evolved in my thoughts and evolved in life, I've discovered that most of the deals are not before the holidays or before Christmas. The deals are after Christmas. And so it was one particular year I was shopping. I had to work. And so, the office was quiet. Everyone is still like kind of enjoying their holidays. So I decided, let me go down and shop and see what the stores have. So after going shopping, discovering that the prices are really slashed after the holidays, I somewhat made that my tradition now. So, hey, let's wait after the holidays and let's go shopping and celebrate then.
And I feel like that's really one of the best times to shop in preparation for the following season. Buy all your Christmas decoration after Christmas when those sales, they got to get all that stuff cleared out and do it like that. But sometimes some people like things to do it seasonally. They like it to do seasonally. But in the midst of the holidays is like it's the most wonderful time of the year. But in reality, it's not the most wonderful time of the year for everybody.
Yes.
Of course, we know we have those who are not as fortunate. Their financial status is not where they would like it to be. So they're facing foreclosure and hunger and bills to due and things of that sort. And I empathize with those who are in that situation. But if I would be honest, I have a special heart for those who the holiday isn't the holiday anymore because they have experienced loss. They have experienced loss. And so during one of the most happiest of times and jolliest of times, for a lot of people, really, it's not as happy and it's not as jolly.
Yeah, because a lot of people, if there is loss experience at that moment or during that season, then that's what a lot of people may, relate to during the season instead of the joyous time or the happy time, kind of relating to that loss. It's a reminder every year, every year around that same time, this event occurred, this took place. And so it can bring an overshadow for some where they're not happy or wanting to even have what could be some of their traditions. They just do away with it, don't want to spend time with family, don't want any of the festivities, and just kind of want to isolate themselves because of that particular loss at that season. And my heart really goes out for anyone who have encountered any kind of loss during this season because it is very difficult. I can only imagine to deal with that and still have to kind of show up if you have children or you have the responsibility of a family that you want to show up and be there for during this season.
The reality is everybody isn't as, not that they're not, but they aren't as jolly during the holiday. And so we're here for you on this episode. We're here for you. Hopefully, um, I don't claim to be an expert at anything except for loving Jesus and trying not to make a big mistake. But hopefully, we want to offer you some things to help you get through the holiday season so that whatever loss you've experienced don't overwhelm you with what you need to continue to make the holiday season still of great significance unto you.
I think to add to that is also to extend to each other grace and extend to yourself grace during this time. If you need to take the moment, take the moment. If you need to pull back, pull back. And it's okay. But if there is a place that you feel somewhat unease, then I believe always talking about it is a great place to begin. If it's a therapist, if it's a friend, if it's a family member, because during this holiday season, I think oftentimes we've experienced, well, personally, I know you have as well, but I've experienced loss in almost every area. Lost both of my parents are no longer here, grandparents are no longer here. I have a brother who has already gone home with the Lord as well, so he's not here. So we've experienced great loss in regards to death. And so now, with the tradition growing up as a kid, we always went to grandmother's house. And so grandmother cooked, she prepared everything. And as we got older, she started passing along the recipes for dishes, giving us the tools so we can now run with the tradition or run with the family to keep the family together. Because in most cases, that's the time that we all come together. I think for me, again, during this season, it's always family, food, and fun. And for us to continue in what grandmother built and passed on to us, we had to learn. So now we come together when we can as a family, siblings, and everybody bring a dish now, opposed to grandmother cooking everything. You bring a dish, whatever your specialty is. Mine for years was macaroni and cheese because I love pastas. So I would always bring the macaroni and cheese, and so whoever else with their specialty. And so now, with us having that loss, we have to constantly reflect on the memory, the good memories. And so that would be my advice to you today. Focus on the good memories that you had. I don't, sometimes our goodest memory might have been when we were 5, 6, 7 years old. Some days I just go back there just to remember, oh, I remember this time grandma made this or mama made this. I remember the tradition mama brought me in there when I learned to make macaroni and cheese. So there is always something good, even in our pain or in our loss. And so I would say today that if you can, just find those good memories. Find those good memories during this season because, again, I often say this, and I say this a lot so I am a clinical mental health student in training. And I say this a lot to my clients when I am in therapy sessions in regards to the depression and the anxiety. That depression is often related to a past experience, past memory that we cannot change because what's in the past is in the past. We can't undo what has already taken place. So that's what that depression is. We worried and we are focused on something in the past that will keep draining our energy, that keeps sucking the life out of us. And so we kind of have to shift that focus from what we cannot change to the now and the present and bring the good memories and not really focus on those bad memories.
Exactly. So there are ways that you can cope through the holiday season. One thing is be in the moment. Be in the moment. One thing I believe is that if you're sad in that moment, it is okay. It is okay to be sad in that moment. These moments are almost like the weather sometimes. They come and they go, and it's okay to be in the moment. if you're happy, you don't have to feel guilty for being happy in the moment. Be very, very present with how you feel, and then don't be afraid to talk about it.
I believe in being in the moment, being in the now, but if there is a sadness, to make sure that that sadness doesn't create, more problems, because I've often seen I myself, when not feeling, when you're kinda down, especially if you are a shopaholic, like, in shop, and so if you're a shopaholic and you're in that emotion, and that's where you get your, you get your endorphins, you get that serotonin, that thing that makes you feel good, the things that calms you. If it's in shopping, then you'll find yourself spending, and most people get in debt during the holiday seasons, not necessarily because they're out there just buying everybody gifts, but it's a way for them to get themselves up out of that sad place, out of that depressed place, and then they become, inundated with that debt. So, what are your thoughts? How can someone work to make sure, although you says in the moment, if it's sadness, but how would you address that?
So in the midst of loss, I think it's okay to be in the moment and feel how you feel in that moment, whether it is sad, whether it is jolly, um, whatever it is, it's okay to be in the moment. And being in the moment, to me, it is okay to talk about the moment. Find you someone who genuinely cares and they're concerned, that will listen to you and talk in the moment so that you don't overcompensate with over shopping, drinking excessively, eating excessively, because a lot of times you can tell there's a transition in somebody when you see extreme weight gain, because they're coping through food, they're coping through shopping, and just being able to sit and talk it out can do a world of a difference in the midst of loss. So I think it's important, like you said, that those of you who've experienced loss, because loss is loss, whether it is the loss of a spouse, a loss of a child, a loss of a parent, a loss of a dear close family member or friend. And for some people, it's their first holiday without that loved one. And then for others, it's not. I was looking at something and it said, whether it is your first year or your 10th year, this is your first 10th year. So a personal pet peeve of mine is just get over it. Just get over it. I don't want you to get over it, but I do want you to be able to find your way and navigate through it. And navigate through it so that you don't miss everything. Another reason why it's so important to be in that moment, because I've heard it stated this way, that grief does not mind waiting. And after all of that piles up on you, it's going to come out one way or another. And then I heard another specialist say it this way, which was so good to me, because sometimes with the help that others try to offer who don't quite understand, they said, I understand exactly what you're saying because my brain isn't broken. My heart is. So when you're dealing with a broken heart, you can do your best to be as logical as much as you can, but you have to let your heart experience what it is experiencing so that it can heal, because the heart will heal differently than the brain will heal. that's one of the reasons why I say to be encouraged to be in the moment.
And I agree with being in the moment because as you mentioned, but I often say this, that whatever the situation, the issue, the circumstance is, it's okay to be in the moment, but you can't stay there. Because what happens is if we stay there too long, that's when there is depression. So while we're there, one part of therapy that I love, that I specialize in, is solution focused. Because out of every single issue, every circumstance, every trauma, every trial, we have to find the solution. If not, then we will live and bury ourselves in that place of bitterness, of anger, sadness. And so this is where I believe it can be a constant repetitive cycle that we experience year after year because one thing will never change. It will always be that the time is going to continue to go on with or without us. Time will continue, the clock will continue. And so we have to find the solution that next year, okay, this transpired 10 years ago, it expired 5 years ago. What is the solution for us to get to that place of healing? That next year, this time, we don't, not saying that it won't hurt, because every single time I believe the time comes around, it's like any kind of injury. Often say this, that when we are injured, we put band-aids, we put ointments on it to help the healing process. But if you've ever really had a severe injury, it just depends on the extent of the injury. This is why we can't downplay our injuries because, and this is me talking about emotional, the heart, as you said, it's not, my head, it's my heart. The heart, when the heart is broken, when the heart is betrayed, we can't deny the extent of it. We have to get the healing because some of our wounds are surfaced. I accidentally cut myself last week with a knife cleaning it. And when I cut it, cut quite deep because I literally had to hold for hours compression to get the bleeding to stop. And then even after I got the bleeding to stop, I had to put, ointment and band-aids to kind of keep that pressure on it. But a week later, it was still sore. It was still tender. And 2 weeks later, still a little bit sore, still a little bit tender. But now 3 weeks later, I don't even feel it, but I still have the memory of it, but I don't feel it. But there are some injuries that you may have experienced that went deeper, that sometimes it touched the nerve. And so when something presses against it, there's not only the reminder of what happened, but you feel it. You feel it. And so this is why it's so important that especially during the holidays, because a lot of times it's like a double-edged sword. Because not only did I experience this trauma or I experienced this loss, but I experienced during the time of the holidays that is constantly highlighted and emphasized. So not only at this time they're emphasizing the holidays, everybody's putting up Christmas trees, life is going on, but yet I'm still holding on to this pain or this trauma that transpired whenever it transpired. And so it requires us to look at it, to examine what happened. And this is why I am an advocate for therapy. I'm an advocate for self care. You have to put yourself first. And a lot of times people taught us and teach us that it's selfish if you put yourself first. And no, I don't believe it's selfish because so many of us have neglected ourselves, putting others, and now we've experienced pain and betrayal. And now, even during this holiday season, we shop for everybody else. And sometimes we shop for the kids, we shop for the spouses, we shop for mom, we shop for dad, but we neglect ourselves. Make sure you put yourself on the list this year.
Exactly. And to help and then just to move to the place of coping during the holidays, I think it is okay. It is okay. I am grateful. I am so grateful. My mother and I were extremely close. My mother and I were extremely close, and this is about to make the fifth Christmas without my mom. And I'm grateful for those who thought about me and considered me enough. after my mom passed, created an ornament, a Christmas tree ornament with my mom's picture in it so that I can place it upon the Christmas tree and have my mom, who created a pillow with my mom's picture on it, so that I can still have the presence of my mother. And for me, those little small gestures has added a sense of love, strength, hope, and keeping her alive. Every now and then, I would get a text message from different family members and friends with a picture or video of my mom. And those little things like that said, my mom wasn't just important to me, but she was important to you. And you know how important she was to me. So when you sent me those things, all of those things just really added up. Christmas in the beginning was not fun for me because I was used to having my mom there. My mom would never leave me alone. If I'm about to cook, she said, "Well, what you doing?" "Well, hand me the potatoes," and she'll start peeling the potatoes and cutting the potatoes. "Well, what else you gonna need?" And she'll start cutting onions and she'll start cutting bell peppers and doing all those things. So when she left, that left a humongous void, which, in spite of having wife and children, nobody filled that void. So I was just be up in the middle of the night cooking and say, "Ma, I need help. How am I gonna put this together? How am I gonna put that?" And those were things that for me helped kept me going in the midst of it. So the holiday season doesn't have to be a time where it has to be triggering. We have to transfer that to empowerment instead of a trigger.
Yes.
We have to transfer it in a sense. Um, I want to. I saw this statement and it was so good to me, and I had to write it down. It says, "The goal in grief is to do this: remember with more love than with pain."
Yes. I
To
love that.
remember with more love than with pain,
Love.
because within her journey and her transition, there was a lot of pain. Those memories did not bring me to a place of peace. They took me further down in grief. But then when I switch and remember all of the good and all of the positive and all of those things, those are the memories that kind of energize me, especially during the holiday season. So with every celebratory moment, it was hard for me to celebrate to the fullest extent because the biggest cheerleader was no longer there.
But
However, we still keep moving.
that's why I said earlier on to focus on those memories, and it's always the positive, the good memories. This year, my mom's death anniversary marked 20 years. So 20 years we have been without our mother. But there has never been a sad gathering during the holidays because the lady left a landmark in our hearts of her humor, her wit, her unfiltered mouth. So all of the pain that she might have had in regards to some of the things she might have said with her unfiltered mouth that might have been hurtful and painful, none of that ever comes up. It is always the fun and the laughter that she brought. So we often, when we come together during the holiday time, and whenever we come together, if it's a kind of sibling reunion, or we get together as our family time with my sisters, it's always reflecting on something good, bringing mama. She's always a part, and she has always been a part. Although she's been gone from us for 20 years, she's always been a part because we've always brought her with us. Somebody's going to bring mama up. Somebody going to say how mama did this, how mama. And so I reflect often in these 20 years, the woman that I am today because of her. and everything, even the hardest times, because I often say, I clean the way I clean. It wasn't fun growing up as a kid. So when we would have some of these, like you said, traditions and some of the things she instilled in us, you didn't see the value as a child and growing up, and mama just was harsh and it was just too much. And I can't wait till I get grown. And I want, but now as an adult, in hindsight, I reflect on everything, the foundation that she laid for us and how she taught us. And so every time I'm alone, just like you said, I'm thinking of her, the positivity that she has made in my life, not the negative. So we have a choice. It's always our choice, and we can choose. So during this holiday season, you have to choose the love. You have to choose instead of the pain. You have to choose the love, and it's ultimately our choice. No one else can make it for us. So we have to choose, okay, I'm going to get up from here. I'm going to go on. Not ignoring what you've experienced. We have to acknowledge that. I think that's the first step to getting help and becoming the better version of ourselves, is acknowledging what went wrong, how it went wrong, but now let's find a solution to it.
Absolutely. And so we want you to be empowered, especially during the holiday season. And experiencing loss is not just a transitioning of parents and family members and children and spouses, but some of us have experienced different other type of trauma. Um, and I want to say it's okay to create boundaries because we all have not experienced the same type of trauma or the same type of loss. If there's a loss of innocence, a loss of peace, a loss of joy, it's okay to create boundaries. If I've been abused by an individual, it doesn't mean I have to stay in the same atmosphere of that individual. I can remember uh, one holiday where if my family, and when I say my family, referencing myself because I wasn't married then, myself, my brothers, my mom went to a particular gathering. And the minute we showed up, the whole atmosphere shift. And when it shift, I immediately looked around, noticed the shift, took in notes, and made up in my mind, we don't have to tolerate this.
That's right.
I didn't have a bunch of money, but I had a credit card with a credit limit. And I looked at my mom and I said, let's go. And we went to the restaurant and enjoyed the meal. Enjoyed the meal. They started putting the food once we got there. It was like, oh, really? Oh, no, no, no. And I think to this day, I am so funny when it comes out of food. Yeah, give me attitude one time about your food, you can have it because I ain't this size for nothing. I'm still going to eat. I can cook my own and I'm still going to eat, but it's okay to protect your peace.
You have to. I'm glad you're bringing that up during this time of year, because this is a time where we house hop. We go from this house to that hop. And I said this long time ago. I refuse to go anywhere where I'm tolerated. I refuse. I'm only going where I am celebrated. I love me too much. This is where we have to find our identity, know who we are, love ourselves to not be a victim to anyone's abuse.
Exactly.
And I say this across family lines, friendships. It doesn't matter. I'm not that hungry to tolerate abuse just to get a plate.
Not me.
And so we want to bring this information and this awareness and acknowledgement that these things happen during the holiday season. And I think that's another, because we see so much discord during the most joyous time of the season in the year. This is my favorite time of the year. I love fourth quarter. I love this, not that it's only because it's my birthday, the holidays for me, but it's the entire, just a joyous time. The weather gets better, and it's just so much that we can reflect on, but don't allow anyone to dictate to you your value and your worth during this time, because I think it could be, even with gift giving. We give gifts and you give to impress, and then you don't get in return. So I believe that in this season, we have to make sure that we consider ourselves. I'm big on self this year, and I've been saying this all because I have identified the version of me that needs catering to by me, not anyone else. So you have to be able to cater to yourself and not have expectations for others to do what you should be already doing for yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So find your way to navigate the holiday season. Um, a lot of times, so many Americans find themselves with new debt during the holiday season. New debt because we have not emotionally dealt with what is causing us to overspend. It is important to be in the moment. And again, I that's what I always try to do. I try to make sure I'm in the moment because if I feel a certain way, I want to know why I feel that way. Am I feeling that way because I'm sad? Am I feeling that way because I'm embarrassed? Am I feeling that way because I'm hurt? Am I feeling that way because I'm ashamed? So once sit in the moment and understand where I am, now I know how to navigate through it. One of the things that I learned a long time ago that embarrassment is a choice. So if I feel this way because I'm embarrassed, I don't have to be embarrassed.
That's right.
Because the funniest thing is we get embarrassed about stuff that ain't nobody else thinking about but us. If only you know you got a hole in your underwear, why are you embarrassed? So embarrassment is a choice.
It's too, and that's why I said in regards to that debt, where, and I believe it comes from different avenues, and it can be again us trying to make up that, or not necessarily. I don't want to say make up because I don't want to sound,
Insensitive.
insensitive,
Mm.
but us trying to compensate something that's missing. So we find ourselves, that's where I believe compulsiveness comes in, because we are filling a void. And so because this thing brings us satisfaction, it brings us peace or it brings us joy at the moment. But yet and still you're spending 20, 30,000 in debt, and you've collected all of these things. But after you've done that for that moment, it's over now. And so now it has come to the place, okay, I have to go and do it again. And I'm going to keep, and I'm going to keep until I can keep feeling that place of joy. And so during the holiday season, it's something that we have to be very careful because it's an excuse now for us to do it. I got to buy the kids, I got to buy this, I got to buy this when I have to buy. And so we find ourselves compulsively shopping, but not considering, are we being stewards over what we have, good stewards, because the season of the holidays, it's only for a couple of months. After the holiday season, life still has to go on.
Life still has to go on. So we created this episode in particularly with you in mind who have experienced loss. Your loss does not have to cause you to lose everything that is offered during the season. There's a lot of help that's available online as quick as YouTube that can offer guidance. And like we advocate strongly for having a good mental health counselor who can help you get through this season. There's no time too soon or too late to start your healing journey. No time too soon, no time too late to begin your healing journey. I want you to have a happy holiday. Do it with recipes. Do it with pictures. If you have to light a candle and say, this candle is whomsoever, and this candle will represent the light that they have shown just for us. Celebrate this holiday, even if you have to make it in your own unique way. If you're dieting, like I'm gonna try to do so I can be skinny for 2026 and come back in a new season, hopefully with a new outfit. Y'all hold me accountable to that. uh, that if I have to just take this one day off to enjoy grandma's sweet potato pie so I can have the spirit of grandma with me, enjoy that moment during the holiday.
Also, another tool I like to leave is create a budget. And if the budget is $500, don't go beyond the budget. And it's okay if you can't do it this year. Don't allow yourself to become overwhelmed with the holiday season because a lot of times we do. We have children. I have children. And so before the holidays even approach, I'm getting a list. I want this, I want that, I want this, I want that. And it's okay if you cannot get what's on the list. Because sometimes we can't do it. And in this season, you're going to have to determine what is going to be the necessity and what you're going to have to say no to. And whatever you have to say no to, just say no. Don't go and get debt, credit card debt. Don't go get a loan for it. If you can't pay for it, then leave it in the store
And online.
and online. Because I promise you, algorithms are prepared to inundate us with all kinds of items. Your phones, your devices are hearing your conversations. And so everything that you're desiring your kids are speaking of, they're going to be popping up everywhere. I remember growing up as a kid, Toys R Us used to play commercials. And I know we don't have Toys R Us, but they played it and they had them on rerun. And the kids, so they can get the kids hyped up. And now today, it's a different day because these kids don't want. We had board games when I was growing up as a kid. You got a bicycle. You know, those were the toys and the gifts you got during the holiday season from, parents. But today, these kids want devices. And these devices are $1,000 and $500. And they want the name brands. And just be wise in this season and then during these holidays. That would be the advice in regards to, because after the holidays, it's still life. And so don't be in debt come January 1st because you spent it all during the holiday season.
And so from all of us here at Love Speaks, we want to wish you a very happy holidays. We appreciate your faithfulness, your commitments, your views, your likes, your comments, your emails, your messages. We appreciate all of those things, and we wish you great success and long life for the holiday season and beyond. Can't wait to see you next season.
Don't forget to send us your emails as we are preparing for the next season. And as Francois said, thank you so much for your support and your love. We felt you, our friends, our family, supported us on this journey. Our team, we cannot end this season without acknowledging our team who did a phenomenal job. They made this easy for us. We just had to show up. Only thing we had to worry about is what we're going to wear. And for me, what wig I'm going to wear. What shirt I'm going to wear. I thank God for the team because all of the background work, we didn't have to think about it. Our phenomenal producer who put it all together for us. Every taping, every recording, put every effort. And if you've never been in our studio and see the food that's just available, it's been great. It's been a great run this season, and I'm excited. Yeah, I have to put that plug out there because it's been great. We wouldn't have been able to done this. I've sat on other sets as well, but this set has been great.
Yeah. Happy holiday. Enjoy the season for Love Speak. Love Speaks where love is. See you next season. We love you.
Somebody told me they ready to go. You still going?
I ain't done trying to find that. This is the last taping, and we give no acknowledgement to our crew, the producer. You got to acknowledge the producer. I can't let this. You can't say you can't let the season end without saying something to the producer.
This is a young man who claimed he wanted me to mentor him. He was standing where you sitting at, and I smelt his breath where I was. And it's like, I'm like, if you want me to mentor you, and part of me wanted to say, I need you to just get you some peroxide. That's the cheapest dental thing you can ever do. Peroxide is $1 and some change a bottle. Gargle every day. Just gargle every day.